welcome you here. You're going to get to experience kind of what is a typical type of class, what we call a master class here at the EEE.
So StreetCan, we're based in Arizona, and we decided to open an office in Paris so that we could serve clients who are looking to the U.S. market, want to market to them. So we are very excited to be here. This is our launch month, and we really appreciate this hosting us, letting us come and speak with you tonight.
Thanks, Jason. So I'd just like to introduce our two speakers for tonight. The first speaker is Nicolas Glady, Professor of Marketing here at ESSEC Business School. He was recently recognized as one of the best 40 professors in the world, under 40 years old, by Poets and Quants magazine. It's an American publication that specialized in management. Nicolas is also head of the Accenture Strategic Business Analytics Chair here at ESSEC. So he is going to be kicking off tonight's event, and will be followed by Jay Fettlinger, CEO of StreetCan Interactive, who also was the creator of ShopTab, did I say it right? ShopTab Facebook application, and is just, we were talking before the event, is really an entrepreneur at heart. He's created a lot of businesses, had some failures, but had some great successes as well, and he'll be able to share these experiences with you tonight. He's going to be here both of them are going to be talking tonight about social media. It's a hot topic, and again, I'd like to thank you for coming and enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much, Natalie. So I'd like to start this presentation by telling a bit what this chair that Natalie just mentioned is about. So the Accenture Strategic Business Analytics chair that we launched recently will deal with data and how a company can analyze data to understand its business better and make it more efficient, to deal with that complexity. And when we think at social media, business analytics, big data, usually most people, they think engineers. They think guys that are very good at analytics, so crunching data, statistics, econometrics, and that are good at programming. So, why are we here today? In this context, you cannot just be an academic in your ivory tower anymore. Since, everything we want to do must be business relevant. On the other hand, it's very technical, it's very complex, and I won't show you equations today. I think this is a bit too late, but you need at least to be very good at understanding those technicalities. So the game of vision is to walk on two legs. First, obviously, research, which is, at the end of the day, one of the core business of an academic institution, but this research needs to be grounded on practical issues. And today is actually one of those examples where we want to collaborate between practitioners and researchers so that we can provide to the audience, to our students, to the community or network at large, these very advanced techniques in a relevant way with rigor and structure.
So my plan tonight is I wanted to share with you all what I've learned around social media in helping our clients, and share some tips as well as how you can leverage that for your business. And as mentioned before, I had an application with Facebook that I want to kind of tell a story about that. So what I wanted to share now is talking about the social media side. A lot of our clients will come to us and they're feeling very overwhelmed, very, very frustrated by how fast the space is evolving. They're looking for ways on how to best leverage this. The challenge when it comes to Facebook though, or social media on Twitter and LinkedIn and whatnot, is it's not free. Again, I know there's no cost to create your accounts, but your time is money too. So our agency, we're very much about strategy. Again, I just share with you a lot of tactics around social media. Facebook's a tactic, Twitter's a tactic. These are tools that you can use to grow your business. But what's really, really important is you've got to have a plan. Just like if you're going to build a house, you want to have a blueprint on how you build that building or that house. Same thing with social media. Before you jump into this and start creating all these various different accounts because someone recommended it, make sure you understand why you're even doing that. Is your goal to drive traffic to your website? Is your goal is to learn from your audience what their pain points are and how you can improve your products or services? Understand why you're doing this before you jump into it. And then secondly with that, it's very, very important to understand who your audience is. And again, the beauty of social media is people are very open, if you haven't already seen it, to share their opinions. And it's a great way to get some unbiased viewpoints from your actual audience. So from my perspective, it basically is free research and development. You go on Facebook and say, hey, we're considering making our sneakers blue or red or yellow. Which do you like the most? And you get amazing feedback from people when they're very passionate about your brand. So before you go and invest all this money and time on something, you can ask your audience what they think. So that way when you're producing content that they actually find very, very valuable. This is another big one, is show some personality. So again, if you're meeting someone in person, you want to talk with them, tell them who you are, show some interest in themselves and their organization. It isn't unless your business is very, very conservative, you don't feel like you have to go on Facebook and everything has to be perfectly scripted, or on Twitter, or on LinkedIn. People actually like to connect with people. So don't be afraid to show a human side to your organization. If your brand is fun and creative, unique, your content that you produce on various social media networks should match that personality. Another one is being consistent. Often we work with a new client, we'll look at all their various different accounts. We'll look at their website, we'll look at all their various different social media profiles, and everything looks so different. And it's all about the experience. So it gets very confusing when it comes to the internet. Things are changing so fast. And so you want to make sure you do is when you create these social media accounts, you want them to be consistent not only in how you word things, your messaging or positioning, but also look and feel. The visuals, your logo, everything should kind of match. So that way, when I land on a Facebook page for you or Twitter, I know I'm at the right location. We've had some actual clients recently where they might have 12 different accounts on Twitter. And unfortunately, only one of them is created by the company. The other 11 are created by other people. So if you go and do a search for them on Twitter or various different social media accounts, you're not really sure who you're engaging with. So you got to make sure you're being consistent about that. And then share and create often. If you don't have the time to leverage the right social media platforms, there's nothing worse than going to an account on social media for a business, and I see a post you made from a year and a half ago. It implies to me that you don't really find this to be a very effective tool for your business. So honestly, it's almost better not to have a social media account on various different networks if you aren't going to invest the time. So if back to your plan, if you're going to make a plan, you want to kind of think through the schedule you're going to put in place and how you're going to leverage social media. You definitely want to be on there a few times a week at a minimum to try to keep engagement going on. And then my last two final tips here. This second last one is React. Again, the benefit of the internet, which is why I'm pretty passionate about it, is that nothing is ever set in stone. If you talk to your audience and they give you feedback, you can very quickly make changes when it comes to social media. So if you see an opportunity, it's okay to make a change. And then if people come on your page and ask you a question or share a concern, you want to react very quickly. Because if I go onto your business page and I share a concern that I have, I didn't receive a product, or I didn't have a great experience at checking into your hotel, or something like that, if you never respond to me, if someone else goes on your social media account and sees that concern, they might be concerned now as well that you don't care about customer service. So you want to make sure that you react appropriately. You don't want to be defensive. You want to thank the person for sharing their feedback, let them know you're looking into it, and you're going to address this opportunity and you thank them again from that perspective. So you want to react appropriately. And then last but not least is definitely measure this and adjust accordingly. When it comes to the internet, especially social media, there are some amazing tools that you can have in place that have no cost. For example, Facebook has a tool called Facebook Insights. Google has a tool called Google Analytics. These are free tools that you can add to your various different accounts. So what you can do is you can see what's going on. Our team will analyze our clients' social media accounts and say, wow, that post from me last Thursday at 2 o'clock got the most likes, the most shares, the most interest from your company. So why don't we next Thursday do the same thing? But maybe we change up the content and see was it the content or was it the time of day you made that post? So what you can do is you can analyze opportunities to see what works best for your audience. Thank you all.